Italy admits. Hezbollah attacked UNIFIL. Israel did not. Italy has troops in Lebanon as part of UNIFIL. Italy's troops came under fire last week. Italy's defense minister blamed Israel. Israel investigated and found that Hezbollah is the one that launched the attack. Now Italy agrees with Israel's conclusion. Hezbollah shelled UNIFIL's troops. And this is hardly the first time. Just yesterday, Hezbollah attacked UNIFIL troops 3 times. Multiple UNIFIL bases were rocketed by Hezbollah in the morning, in the afternoon, and then again later. At least 4 UNIFIL soldiers were wounded by Hezbollah. But you wouldn't know it from UNIFIL. UNIFIL said the rockets were fired by non-state actors within Lebanon. What non-state actors are firing rockets in Lebanon? 2 days before, French and Finnish UNIFIL troops were blocked by a group of individuals with at least one of them armed. An hour later, the UNIFIL troops were fired on 40 times. Bullets hit UNIFIL vehicles. Who did UNIFIL say shot at them? Non-state actor members. Do you see how crazy this is? UNIFIL has no problem calling out Israel, even if Israel isn't to blame. But when Hezbollah shoots at UNIFIL, then UNIFIL suddenly has no idea who did it. Whether out of greed for Hezbollah's bribes, like the ones UN troops reportedly took, or out of fear from Hezbollah bullets, UNIFIL cannot see Hezbollah. UNIFIL cannot see Hezbollah walking around armed. UNIFIL cannot see Hezbollah digging tunnels next to UNIFIL bases. UNIFIL cannot see Hezbollah even when they shoot at UNIFIL. UNIFIL cannot see Hezbollah, and UNIFIL cannot hold any future agreement. What might that agreement look like? This is the question. U.S. envoy Amos Hochstein was in Lebanon for ceasefire talks yesterday and is arriving in Israel today. According to news reports, this is what Israel needs to restore security in the faces of Hezbollah's attacks. Hezbollah terror infrastructure dismantled across Lebanon, not just along Lebanon's border, Western forces to do what UNIFIL did not, and most importantly, Israel needs freedom to act against violations like Hezbollah arms smuggling from Syria or Hezbollah's return to the border. Israel cannot return to October 8, 2023. That's the day that Hezbollah joined the war on Israel's people. On October 8th, Hezbollah had fortifications along Israel's border. On October 8th, Hezbollah had 200,000 rockets aimed at Israel's towns. On October 8th, Hezbollah had Iranian weapons delivered directly from Syria. No one stopped Hezbollah. Now, Israel is stopping Hezbollah. Israel cannot agree to cease fire on Hezbollah today if Hezbollah will be allowed to recover, rearm, and reassume fire on Israel tomorrow. Israel is fighting the war today so that Hezbollah cannot make war tomorrow. Now let's take some questions from our audience watching live on social media.
Thank you. Our first question today comes from Instagram. Amos Hochstein said that a Lebanon ceasefire is within grasp. What is your sense on the timing of when this may happen?
Well, this is the question that we're all looking to have an answer for. Amos Hochstein was yesterday in Lebanon negotiating with the head parliament of Lebanon, Nabih Berri, that he's also the representative of Hezbollah. Nabih Berri said a few times that they are looking forward to the day that the ceasefire would happen, but they do have some conclusions about it, or maybe some red lines that they're not really agreeing on. One of them is Israel having, to be able to attack if Hezbollah will start to regain back its power, or if they will see that Hezbollah will start to get weapons throughout Syria with the Lebanese border. And this is something that is really important to understand. If Hezbollah or Nabih Berri on behalf of Hezbollah are negotiating in good faith, they wouldn't have any problem with that Israeli request. Because if Lebanon is to uphold that agreement and to make sure that Hezbollah wouldn't gain weapon again, Israel wouldn't have to attack. So if they do want to agree that, they should do that. And I really hope that one day in the near future, we will be able to see that Hezbollah will cease to exist. Because it's not just for the good of Israel that we don't want to have war, it's also good for the people of Lebanon that are waiting for the day that Hezbollah will cease to exist as a military organization, taking place in Lebanon, hijacking the Lebanese politics, threatening Lebanese people on behalf of the Islamic Republic of Iran. This is our major problem. Once Hezbollah is out of the picture, we are able to have not just an agreement. We don't need another agreement like the 1701, like 1559, or other US resolutions. We need peace between Israel and Lebanon, and this is what I'm hoping for.
Our next question is from Daniello on YouTube, who asks you if there's any news on Charles Shartouni. This is a Lebanese academic who recently denounced Hezbollah, said that Lebanon should make peace with Israel, and he's apparently facing arrest. Have you heard anything about this?
I haven't heard specifically about Shaltuni's case, but this is something that follows on a lot of Lebanese who've spoken out against Hezbollah in the latest years, specifically since the war started when Hezbollah launched its war against Israel on October 8, 2023. There are many Lebanese like Shaltuni, like other, for example, the previous reporter, Mai Shidia, that we reported on also here, that there was an attempt of assassination on her life because of Hezbollah. I have a lot of friends in Lebanon that are speaking to me out of fear because they are afraid that they will be arrested because just talking with Israel, not just expressing, the hopeful to have peace between Israel and Lebanon, but also out of just speaking with Israelis. And this is something that the international community, unfortunately, didn't really talk about, that the Lebanese people are being persecuted just because they don't want a terror organization to control them. And this is something that I'm really happy to see you talking about it, and I really hope to see other people talking much more about the need for Lebanese to be liberated and to have their own freedoms from the Islamic Republic of Iran and from Hezbollah being that military controlling Lebanon.
This is another question from YouTube related to what you just said. This is a question from Sue, who asks, how are the people of Lebanon holding up? What is it like for the regular people of Lebanon who are not involved in Hezbollah's war against Israel?
Thank you very much, Sue, for this question. It's super important because you can see that at the end of the day, Israel, when they're targeting Lebanon, they're targeting just Hezbollah facilities, they're targeting just Hezbollah personnel, they're targeting just Hezbollah infrastructure. Yet there is some Lebanese casualties, unfortunately, that at the end of the day, people in Lebanon just want to be able to live their lives. The people that I talk to and the people that are, I can see their comments and their shares on social media, they are really waiting for the day that they will be able to be liberated and freed from that terror organization. They're holding up by having, faith in the day that will be after Hezbollah. That's what a lot of Lebanese are looking for and waiting for. A lot of them are afraid from the day after because they're afraid that Hezbollah will retaliate inside of Israel, inside of Lebanon, if the war stops and Hezbollah will be forced to give their weapons. That's what we're all hoping for and looking forward to achieving this upcoming agreement. But they're afraid that the weapons that Hezbollah is now targeting towards Israelis will be targeting Lebanese people. That's why the international community needs to support the free, liberated Lebanese people that are looking to just live their lives like we are wanting and looking forward to live our lives.
We have time for two more questions. The question right now is from Katie on Instagram, who asks, what's the point of UNIFIL sticking around at all? Do you see a role for UNIFIL in Lebanon? And if so, what is it?
Well, thank you very much for the question. The question of UNIFIL standing and holding inside of Lebanon has been raised lately in many reasons. Like we mentioned now, UNIFIL has done nothing for the last 18 years. Their mandate was to make sure that Hezbollah would be disarmed and not be present in southern Lebanon. And we've seen that not just Hezbollah based themselves within southern Lebanon, closer to the Israeli border, but they were able to arm themselves and also dig tunnels deep next to UNIFIL bases. And this is something that UNIFIL failed to make or maintain that peace that UNIFIL was supposed to have. And this is something that I believe that Israel's request also by the talks and by what was published all over the news lately, that Israel is requesting another international committee that will make sure that UNIFIL will be doing their job that they should do. I believe that UNIFIL failed, and because they failed, they can't continue to do that. That's why we need another international committee to make sure that Hezbollah will not be able to gain their weapons again, and also Hezbollah will not be able to fire any one single shot at Israeli civilians.
This is our last question today. It is about the hostages in Gaza. The Prime Minister of Israel has raised the reward for anyone who releases the hostages to $5 million each. Do you have any hope that we will see some change in the status of the hostages in Gaza? Will they come home soon? Will there be a reward paid out to someone who helps free them?
It's more than 400 days that there are 101 hostages that are still held hostage in Gaza by Hamas. Israel is doing everything in its power in order to get those hostages back, because every one of them is an Israeli and is a human being that needs to be back to its family or for burial, because some of these hostages have already been killed by Hamas. I believe that what the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, is doing, on one hand, could be really good and could be like a positive withhold to maybe, because we know that there are a lot of civilians in Gaza that are holding these hostages themselves, not just Hamas terror organization. They're doing so by the support of Hamas. But maybe if we can have some sort of incentive, they can, at the end of the day, bring those hostages back to their families. And this is what we're looking for. We are all waiting to see the 101 hostages get back home or get back to a normal burial inside of Israel with their families. Thank you very much for watching. We'd also like to announce our new Spanish language channels. Link in the description and across our platforms. Giving Tuesday is 2 weeks away. Keep an eye out for how you can contribute to our campaign. That's all we have time for. Thank you very much for tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow at 3 p.m. Israel time and 8 a.m. East Coast time.